minutes for them to arrive because suddenly they're all popping up, which is great. Hi, Jane.
Hello.
I'm just going to pop you on mute because you're giving us a bit of feedback, if that's all right.
Okay.
And I was just saying we'll give it another minute or two because we normally have quite a lot of people, but it's quite thin on the ground today. I don't know why, but we'll just give it another minute or so, and then hopefully we can, well, we will be able to start and we'll go through, and hopefully some other people will join us as they come. So just give it another 30 seconds. And just as we started, my doorbell went, so that was today's like, uh-oh. Luckily, my daughter managed to open it first. So shall we, I think if we go now, so welcome to today's healthcare support worker recruitment information event. Hopefully you can see my slides okay. Now we do have some videos that are, in fact, I tell you what I've forgotten to do, which I will do now before we go any further, is I always forget to click that little button, and it's really key. So let me know when you can you see the slides again now? Brilliant. Okay, so so welcome along. We've got some videos that we're going to be showing you today. So hopefully the sound will now work because I've clicked that special button. My name is Nikki Hutchinson and I'm the Recruitment Service Manager at Royal Cornwall Hospitals Trust. So Royal Cornwall is made up of 3 different hospitals in Truro and in Hale and down in Penzance, as far west as you can get. It's probably the most westerly hospital, I would imagine. And today we're looking at helping you to understand more about the healthcare support worker role and the opportunity that brings for you to develop a career within the NHS. So just some housekeeping bits and pieces. So you'll see that what we've got is everybody on mute because it helps us just to stop feedback, and then you'll all be able to hear the speakers. If you've got any questions, then you can either raise your hand, which you can do by just looking at the top bar, and you'll see there's a little hand in this, just the face there with the hand. If you click on that hand there, it will show us that you want to say something or ask something. So if you raise your hand if you have a question, or you can put it in the chat bar, which is this little chat box here, and you can show the conversation and any questions that you have. If we you can ask them as we go through, and we'll also make time at the end for any questions that we haven't quite covered off. Okay. So this is what we're aiming to try and get across to you this afternoon. Normally we do these events in person. Obviously COVID has thrown a big spanner in the works, which is all new for all of us really. Well, in fact, it's a bit old news, isn't it now? But essentially what we're looking at answering today is why consider healthcare support work at RCHT. We want you to hear from people who are actually doing the job rather than it just being me talking about how brilliant it is. I want you to hear from people who are doing it themselves so you can get a real flavour of what it's like to work in our wards and areas. And we also want to make sure that you understand the career paths that are available to you if you're successful in securing a role. And lastly, it's just some simple stuff around, okay, so now I'm into this, how do I actually go about applying, and making sure that we've got your questions answered as part of the event. So today's agenda looks like this. This is the bit we're in now, is the welcome, and what we're looking for. What training and support will I have to get me started? We want to talk to you about our new and innovative ward called Wheelvor, and why that's important to us as a trust and why it will be important to you. We want to hear from some healthcare support workers and their job and hear all about what it's actually like. We want to talk to you specifically about apprenticeships and the apprenticeship routes into the trust and into careers. We're going to talk to you a little bit about Kickstart, which you may have heard about and may be applicable to you. Look at those next steps and how to apply, give you a chance to ask any questions, and then we should be finished up by about 3:30 at the latest. But sometimes these things take a little bit less time than we make time for, so we might finish early and we'll just take it as it comes. Okay, so first of all, I want to start with playing you a video. It's one that makes the hairs prick up on my neck, and hopefully will do the same for you. And in a minute, aha, thank goodness, it's going to play. So I'm going to play with that to start with. Let me know if you can't hear anything. Okay, hopefully it will work.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Doctor's Club.
We are the early start. We are the beating heart, born to answer a call. We are healthcare for all. For the people, for the nation, no matter your means, no matter your station. An institution built on a constitution. Our existence, your welfare, respect, humanity, compassion, care. In 72 years, we've come a long way, and there's still much to do, so we're here to stay. We are sons, daughters, husbands, wives, healing, supporting, saving lives. We're someone you wished you'd never met, who becomes your best bet. We're a thank you letter for making a 4-year-old better. We're a reward on every ward. Gratitude that tells us we're valued. We're heroes who sometimes feel like zeros. We're literally blood, sweat and tears. That hasn't changed through the years. But we're not angels with wings. We're just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We are emergency admissions, difficult decisions, clinician, precision, incision. We're podiatrist, therapist, orthotist, prosthetist, pharmacist, oncologist, psychologist, pathologist. We're technological advances for far greater chances. Fascination, exploration, innovation, inspiration, imagination, transformation, and worldwide admiration. We're pioneers. We're over 350 rewarding careers. We're your peers, doing something of significance that makes a real difference, asking you to reach inside the depths of you to find the truth of what you can do. Because we are you at your very best. We are the NHS.
Well, makes me shiver when I watch that. Now I have to admit, oh, there we go. I thought I'd messed that up again. So I think I like that video because I think it gives a very real perspective of what it's like to work in our hospital. And it's very raw, and I think it doesn't it's not trying to be anything it's not. So it is trying to help people at the time when they are needing it most. And we have we're really looking for individuals who are able to follow our values, and the two key ones of those is about care and compassion, and having people that genuinely care about other people. And that's what we're really looking for when we're thinking about healthcare support workers, because the hospital doesn't run without brilliant healthcare support workers in place. So we have a vision and some goals as a trust. Our vision is really about brilliant care, brilliant people, and brilliant improvement. So I think when our board were discussing these goals, they weren't sure whether to put brilliant people or brilliant care first, but they opted for brilliant care. And they said it's always about providing safe, effective and compassionate care where we listen and learn to provide an excellent patient experience and avoid and reduce avoidable harm. And brilliant people, which is the part that you will all play, is about working together in a supportive environment to attract, develop and retain brilliant people, because we couldn't do goal number 1 without goal number 2. And third on that list is about brilliant improvement, and recognising that we need to instill a culture of quality improvement where everybody feels empowered to make changes for the benefits of our patients. So those are our sort of 3 organisational goals. And underneath each of those goals, we have these 5 sets of values, which I just briefly mentioned, but is important to cover. And these are embedded in everything we do. They're embedded in who we are, how we operate together as a team, and also how we care for our patients and their families, and making sure that we're consistent around the way that we work together. So the first two on there is care and compassion. So looking after our patients and each other, and looking after them in the way that we would want to be cared for ourselves if we found ourselves in that unfortunate situation. Inspiration and innovation is just about trying to find new and better ways of doing what we do every day. Working together is about that teamwork that we need to make the trust operate, and making sure that we appreciate and value the role that all our colleagues play in patient care and experience, and working together towards common purposes. Being proud of what we do and proud of our achievements. So taking time to take pride is important. We've just had our brilliant thank you or brilliant you week, which was about 3 weeks ago, where we took time out as a trust to thank colleagues for the investments that they've made and the changes that they've made, which was brilliant. And then finally on there is trust and respect. So making sure that we're working together with trust and respect for not just our patients, but also for our colleagues as well. So they're a really nice set of values that help guide not only what we do, but how we go about doing it too. And if you're feeling now that they don't fit you and how you want to operate, then we maybe aren't the right organisation for you, and that's okay. But this is what we're all working towards achieving together. So we need 3 key ingredients to make a brilliant healthcare support worker. And the 3 ingredients are, number 1, a can-do attitude. What you're looking at applying for is not an easy job. It's not an easy option. And it's, it can be tough in our ward areas. Our patients can be quite needy and there's lots of pressure. But if you've got a can-do attitude and you're looking to help and support and be there to help others, then that's the key thing that we really are looking for as a trust. Clearly, with care and compassion at the heart of what we do, we're looking for people who are also caring and kind to others as a number 1 priority. And then the third part around that is around resilience and determination. This is not the kind of job that it can have tough days, and it's important that we're honest about that and we recognise that, and that everybody understands that that's what this is about. Sometimes having those tough days, but it's about coming back and going, I'm going to find something that gets me back out there and doing it again tomorrow, because it's that makes the difference, not just to our patients and to the rest of our team, but also about how you will progress and develop in your career. And in return, we can then offer limitless opportunities. And hopefully the rest of this event this afternoon will help you to understand a bit more about some of those opportunities on offer and how you can progress your career. So this is not just a job, it is a long-term investment for which you would get rewarded. So another video now, and this is an insight into what it's actually like to be a healthcare support worker. And just so you know, sometimes in different trusts and across the NHS, the term healthcare support worker can be used. There's different words for the same job titles. It could be healthcare assistant, sometimes they're called clinical assistants, and we have several different job titles that we use in the trust to describe this role in different areas, but ultimately healthcare support worker is what we are. Excuse me.
Becoming a parent is one of the biggest events in your life, and so you need all the support that you can get.
Even though it says a healthcare support worker, you get to develop your own skills to care for people.
My day-to-day role can vary between just doing basic observations to supporting parents when their children become really unwell.
My job is sort of an emotional journey.
We all work together, from the midwives all the way down
to doctors and dietitians.
No week is the same. 1 minute I'm in a children's centre, 1 minute I'm working in the hospital.
It's the best role you can get. It opens lots of doors for you.
I find that the job is just really fulfilling.
It's really nice to sort of get up in the morning and know that you're coming to a nice space where you're going to make a difference.
So So a nice short one there, just hearing from individuals who've done it before themselves or are doing it. And what I quite like is that video was quite recent, because obviously everybody was wearing their masks, and it was a recent one. So our learning and development is really a critical part of the role that you'll be doing. You know, you don't just get thrust into wards without having the proper training to make sure that you know how to deal with particular circumstances. So everybody that comes on board as a healthcare support worker will work towards achieving their care certificate in the first instance. And the care certificate is a basic set of tick boxes and rules that will enable you to feel that you've got everything you need in your toolkit to start with to make sure that you're going to be okay in the wards. So we do things like moving and handling training. We make sure you know how to give people basic life support. So in the horrible event that you may be faced with somebody that needs that help, you know what to do and how to do it. So those sorts of things get covered off. And then depending on the role that you go on to do and the ward area that you end up working in, there are a whole series of different healthcare procedures that you would then learn how to do as part of your job, and that you would get specific training and development to enable you to do. And there's some of those lists there. So things like catheter care, blood glucose tests, patient observations. You might do some ECGs, some cannulation, venipuncture. So all these fancy words, and you would get all that training given to you as it was needed in the area that you were looking to work in. And in some cases, some of these bits of training will enable you to progress in your career as well, and to specialise, because this role of healthcare support worker is a very generic title, which can be quite a different job in different areas and different wards, as you might imagine, depending on the kind of care that's being given to our patients in those different areas. So another film, again, about healthcare support workers in their jobs, and another sort of insight into what this job is about.
As a clinical support worker, one of my roles and responsibilities is to care for patients on a day-to-day basis.
Normal days, taking blood pressures, testing INRs. We do the diagnostic tests for doctors. So they request them and then send them to us. We'll do the tests and the doctor will interpret the results.
In maternity, we work in a varied range of wards. We help women antenatally, we help them during labour and delivery, and help them postnatally after birth.
My main role is in nutritional support, and we give advice on how people can best avoid malnutrition through changing their diet and their eating habits.
Within my role, we prep samples for analysis. So if you're in the non-automation section, you could be running samples for immunosuppressants, and that's people that have had liver transplants, and we are monitoring the drug levels to ensure that the drug dose is being monitored correctly.
I think benefits and rewards of being a clinical support worker is that you get to make a huge impact on people's lives.
I've been given training in order to refine my skills and knowledge in the workplace, and training such as resuscitation, moving and handling, as well as phlebotomy.
You're definitely part of a community, especially when you're working in small towns like this. You get to know your patients, first name basis. It's different to working anywhere else.
Within the NHS, there's lots of opportunities for career progression. I'm offered the opportunity for secondment to university to develop my training to become a midwife.
We do shift work, so it's really flexible with your private life, and it's easier to manage things around your own life.
Some of the best rewards I get in my role is obviously it's dealing with people, pretty much. You know, that's why you take a role in healthcare.
The knowledge and experience that I'm gaining is brilliant. I couldn't ask for more.
I'm fully aware that there's a patient on the end of everything I do in the laboratory. That itself is very rewarding, knowing that you're helping produce a result for a clinician.
If you're thinking of having a role as a support worker or an assistant with the NHS, I'd say definitely go for it. It's incredibly rewarding. You're given so many opportunities to make a positive impact on people's lives.
So it will give you so many more life experiences than any other jobs. You learn a lot on the job, and you just got such a wide range of knowledge.
Seeing them get better is one of the most satisfying things that I can do.
If I could describe my role in one word, I suppose it'd have to be assist.
Gratifying.
Challenging.
Diverse.
Fulfilling.
So hopefully a little insight there into the different job opportunities and roles that you could choose to take up. I'm just going to try and get past this slide, which never works. I thought I was doing well today as well. And I've lost all of you, so let's get you back there. I can't move off the slide. I hate it when this happens. It happens every time. Bear with me a second while I try and work out why it's not clicking through. Aha, it's because it's trying to play 15 videos at the same time, so bear with me. I think we were zoning in on the snowflake mystery, whatever that is, and I'm trying to get onto the next slide, so let's just move past it like that. Can you still see the slides, everybody? You still see the slides? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. So
yes, I can.
Excellent, thank you very much. So Neil, I can see you there. Are you all right, Neil? So Neil is going to share with us, he's the podiatry team manager for our new and exciting ward, Wheelvor, and Neil's going to talk to us a little bit about the vision for Wheelvor, what it does, what it's like, and give you a flavour of how we're operating with that. So I'm going to hand over to you, Neil. Thank you for coming.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Nicola. Having been on a couple of these with yourself now, I have to say that your IT skills have most definitely improved since we started, and I'm quite envious of that, I have to say, because I could certainly do with some polishing up on my skills, that's for sure. Good afternoon, everybody, and it might be strange to see a podiatrist on one of these events. My name is Neil Smith. I'm the professional lead for podiatry across Cornwall, the CFT and RCHT. I've been asked to come along to talk about what I love about working in the NHS and why I'd recommend it as a career to others. We have several support workers within our team, and today we've got our first Kickstarter joining us live in Truro Health Park, which is a scheme which you'll learn about a little bit later on. But just to let you know, these opportunities are out there, they are available, and all we have to do is be the right candidate for the right job. So what do I love about my job and working within health and social care? Well, you've seen from the videos that the overarching feeling is that you're contributing to a larger purpose. I'm part of a team that sits within another team and so on. No single person or single team within the NHS stands alone. We're all part of one big picture. Everyone is trying to do the best they can with the limited resources and the challenges that influence us all. So whilst at the same time we're still trying to provide the best outcomes for our patients and providing a rewarding job role for our staff team, we all want to feel part of something and that our contribution is valued. As a healthcare support worker within any organisation, you will be welcomed with open arms. You can't always be on top of everything, as much as you would like, but at that point it's important not to be too hard on yourself, but try to take a small step towards your goals. There's a lot of training involved and lots of new skills that you'll be learning. It can seem quite daunting when you're just trying to spell some of these words. They're big old words, but bit by bit you'll be supported to learn these tasks, and eventually, given time, you may well be the person who's supporting somebody else, the next generation of healthcare support workers, into learning those skills. So I also value the shared goals and the philosophy within my team, and the key to happiness within your work is, to my mind, the relationships that you have with your colleagues. And your personal relationships are obviously very important, but at work, your relationships with your colleagues and your peers are very important. Your colleagues help to share in your successes, and give you encouragement when things don't go so well. So, and a few kind words can go a long way with us all. Everyone at all stages of their careers can make a positive difference. So staying positive, again, is another key to enjoying your job. We all face challenges like resources, time pressures, less than grateful contacts perhaps, doubts and fears that we may have, whether we're able to do these jobs. Maybe we may not pass first time, but just keep on trying. Stay positive. Stay engaged with the team around you. It's important, especially if you find yourself lone working a large percentage of the time, which a lot of my team do, which includes some of my support workers. There's a vast health and social care system out there. There's a lot of opportunities which you've seen, which you may not even have considered as yet. I didn't consider being a podiatrist at all until somebody visited my grandmother and made a very positive intervention that actually saved her foot. And it was that point that I thought, well, this is a career I'd never thought about before. I went away, looked it up, see what it was all about. And now here I am working with the team, trying to do the same for other people. I trust my team to do a good job. You will be trusted to do a good job as well. I allow my team to work on their own initiative, which is not something which every employer will do, but you'll certainly find that you can work within your own initiative in a safe manner within the NHS. But at the same time, I'm also there with support when it's needed. The key to this type of relationship is that I rely on my staff not to stew on problems or any difficulties that they may have. A situation nipped or resolved in the early stages is far easier to deal with than one that's left to fester and grow, which may cause you stress and anxiety and maybe put your patients at risk as well. So if you ever have any doubts, anything that you're not sure about, do ask. Nobody is going to chastise you or say you should know that already. People are here to help. Something I've experienced within my job working in the NHS that I didn't really expect is the way that people's expectations often ally to what's being said in the media about health and social care. For instance, at the minute during the pandemic, there's a wave of positivity towards staff, and you see the clap for carers that went on, rainbows in the windows all over the place. Staff felt better about what they were doing, felt better about themselves, and a greater feeling of pride in what they were doing. More people applied to courses and look for work within health and social care. On the other side, when the news is gloomy, which it can often be because the NHS is a bit of a political football, I'm afraid. When the news is gloomy, this can often reflect in people's attitude and behaviour towards you and towards the NHS. The more realistic thing is obviously the middle way, which is the true way of the NHS. But unfortunately, the middle way, the sensible ground, doesn't always sell newspapers or get people reading BBC News. So one of the best things that happened during the pandemic, and there have been a few good things, believe it or not, was the mutual assistance, which meant that corporate and processes were simplified, barriers were removed in order to streamline processes and speed things up, and a can-do attitude prevailed, which was a breath of fresh air. And if you come in with a can-do attitude, there is really nothing you can't do. Everybody will love you for it, including myself. So my key tips are stay positive, but obviously realistic as well at the same time. And carry a good can-do attitude. Trust your colleagues, trust yourself, be compassionate to others, and above all, be compassionate to yourself when you feel you've got those doubts. And that little voice inside of you saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, I'm sure you can. And a few kind words to your colleagues can ease their day. And that's it. Good luck to everybody who's going to apply.
Thank you, Neil. We'll share the video online after the event as well, so I'm sure that will be a really helpful insight. And Wheel Vor is a new ward that we're developing, or we have developed in the trust, and what we're going to be doing with that is it's about helping patients to exit the hospital and helping to fast track that process for them as much as possible so that they can get out and back home to their families or out into care. And as part of that process, we're also, we now have our kind of own healthcare support worker training ground where individuals will be able to come in and they'll do their training within that Wheel Vor environment so that it's a really consistent approach. And so anybody that hasn't got any experience will find themselves in Wheel Vor in the first instance, and then we can get you out and into the ward areas where you've been allocated for your long-term posts after that, which is really exciting. So you'll get to meet with and work with a whole load of other healthcare support workers when you join us. So the next person on our list today, have we got Rebecca with us? Rebecca Hicks?
I don't think she's here. I think she had to call away.
Okay, so we are, because it's winter, and as you know, we've got COVID still rattling through. From time to time, people have got haven't been able to come and join us, which is a shame. So never mind. Who have we got next? I've got Dottie. Is she here?
I think it's the same story with Dottie as well, unfortunately.
Okay. Who else have we got? Nikki. I know I've seen Nikki. So Nikki is our apprenticeship lead.
Hi everyone, thank you Nicola. So I'm probably going to join you and cough my way through this as well because I'm struggling a little bit today. So lovely to meet you all. I'm going to move away from the window a bit as well because else I look like a shadow. So my name, as there, Nikki Pryke, I'm the apprenticeship lead for the Royal Cornwall Hospital, but I also sort of report in for the whole of Cornwall. So I've kind of got my finger on what's happening with apprenticeships in Cornwall and what opportunities are available as well. So as a trust, we've recently won the Large Employer Apprenticeship of the Year for Cornwall, which was really good. And I also had one of our registered nurse degree apprentices win the award for Health Apprentice of the Year as well. So we are award winning, and it's nice to be able to say that for a change. So if we can move on to the next slide, Nikki. So apprenticeships are open to anybody who is living in the UK, is over 16 years of age, and not currently in full-time education with anybody else. There's no upper age limit. It's not just for young people, it is for anybody. But you do have to be resident in the UK and over the age of 16. Apprenticeships are an opportunity to basically earn while you learn. So you are employed by the trust. You have a job role like anybody else, but we also then give you the time within work time, so paid study time, to go towards your apprenticeship. So we work with a number of different apprenticeship training providers, so anyone from kind of the local colleges or universities through to the national training providers who offer more of a blended approach with more like online study and virtual kind of assessors and tutors that assist you. So if you join us as an apprentice, you'll work alongside our experienced staff. You'll gain job specific skills. You'll obviously earn a wage and get holiday pay, and then we give you that time off during work time to study. And apprenticeships, depending on the level, take anything between 1 to 5 years to complete. To legally, an apprenticeship must be 1 year and 1 day. So with the national training providers, sometimes there is an opportunity to complete it a little bit earlier, but generally, that you do need to stick within the duration of the apprenticeship. If I could have the next slide, Nikki. So these are all the different apprenticeships you could do within a health or care setting. So they are all kind of career routes. The basic eligibility criteria is a GCSE level pass in English and maths. So you need to make sure you have GCSE English and maths to be able to access the apprenticeship. When you get onto the degree apprenticeship, sometimes you need to have A levels or a level 3 qualification. So what we've done is kind of mapped the journey for anybody who comes into the trust using apprenticeships. And as you can see there, there's anything from healthcares right through to kind of administration, procurement, leadership and management, our laboratories, IT, finance, pharmacy. So there's loads and loads of different opportunities. Next slide, Nikki. So I've already spoken about you need to have a GCSE level pass in English and maths, and also the training provider will ask to see your certificates as well, which often means that people start scrabbling around in lofts and things trying to find them. You can also have the functional skills level 2, so if you've done it through sort of adult education, then that's acceptable as well. You will need a permanent contract with us, and it needs to be ideally for more than 30 hours a week. We do allow existing members of staff to complete apprenticeships as well. If you are an existing member of staff, you would need your line manager's approval and the commitment to that off-the-job paid training. So it does vary, but for sort of the level 3 qualifications, it's normally around sort of 1 day a week. When you get through to things like the nursing associate or the registered nurse degree apprenticeships, that tends to be either 60 to 100% of the time that you're actually studying. And we advertise all of our apprenticeships on NHS Jobs. So there is actually an application process to apply for the apprenticeship. And next slide. So this is one of the journeys that you could look at using apprenticeships. So we currently have rolling vacancies for the Senior Healthcare Support Worker apprenticeship. It's a level 3 qualification. You would need the English and Maths at GCSE level to access it, and you would join the trust, and at the moment you would then spend 6 weeks in Wheal Vor, which is our kind of training board for all of our healthcares. During that time, you'd get lots of training in Wheal Vor, but you'd also be signed up to the apprenticeship and start your apprenticeship with a training provider. The apprenticeship takes 18 months to 24 months to complete. And on completion, you would get your diploma in health and social care as well as the level 3 apprenticeship. So the apprenticeship is a qualification in itself. And then depending on kind of where you are and what opportunities are available, it could be that you could then either start onto the nursing associate apprenticeship at level 5, which is a registered profession now, or you could go on to do the registered nurse degree apprenticeship. So either way, really, so from today, if you started a senior healthcare support worker apprenticeship, it's going to take you between sort of 5.5 years to 6 years to get to the registered nurse degree and get your PIN. So if you think you're being paid all the time to do that, you're getting all your qualifications paid as well. It's quite a good incentive for you as an individual to use the apprenticeship route. Okay, next slide, Nikki. Oh, it's Kickstart. Okay, so so we do have some vacancies at the moment, and I'm sure they will be shared with you. So we're kind of recruiting every 6 weeks into those vacancies. And if anybody's got any questions, what I will do, if I can, I'll chuck it in, put it in the chat. I'll put in our apprenticeship email address if anybody wants to email me to ask any questions, unless anybody's got any now. No, that's good. I managed to get through that without coughing as well, so that was good. So lovely to meet you all.
Nikki, I was just thinking, I was having a good old chin wag with Nikki Brown, who is looking after Wheal Vor at the moment. And I said, one thing I can't get my head around at the minute is why would I come on board and do an apprenticeship and earn less than coming in as a trainee healthcare support worker? And she then explained that you sort of sacrifice, say, 18 months, don't you, to get through the apprenticeship at, say, a lower wage, but then you get your qualifications at the same time that enable you to fast track into becoming a nurse, if that's the career route that you want to take. And that was really key for my understanding. Just thought it'd be helpful to point that out. So if you are thinking that you want to develop towards a nursing career in the longer term, then an apprenticeship is the best route to take, because you're getting the right academic qualifications at the same time as you're learning on the job. And that gives you the best and most rounded experience, and also the qualifications you need to be able to progress. So it's a fantastic route in. Explain that out.
Yeah, that level 3 apprenticeship is your kind of route to all the different degree apprenticeships. Most of the training providers will ask for that. So without that, you wouldn't be able to sort of step into the degree route. So yeah, and yeah, I suppose there's no, it may happen, but there's no guarantee as well. If you joined as a healthcare, that you could then get onto the apprenticeship as, you know, as an existing member of staff, because it actually costs the trust a lot of money to backfill that off the job training. So yeah, so there's sort of no guarantee if you just came in as a HCA that you'd get to go onto the apprenticeships.
It's a much more direct route through, isn't it? Which is why it's such a great route in. And so if you are thinking career wise, this, you know, in the longer term, I'm thinking about nursing or midwifery or something like that, this is definitely the best route for you to take in. Otherwise, you're in the pot with everybody else in the healthcare support worker teams, which is, it's not impossible, but it's just a harder route, and you've got to get the qualifications anyway, haven't you, to get to that level. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an understanding of why the apprenticeship as opposed to the trainee route, and they're quite different, but essentially working in slightly different directions. Shimon, you've got your hand up. I'm going to just take you off mute a sec. Hang on. I can't do that. Can you unmute yourself? I can't hear you. I think, can you take yourself off mute? Did you want to say something? Or you could put it in the chat box if you like. I'm gonna lower Shimon's hand and hopefully he'll have heard that. Okay. Okay, so next to cover off is the Kickstart. So this is another route in to working in RCHT. You have to be aged between 16 and 24 years, and you have to be receiving universal credits. So if you're in that situation, then the Kickstart scheme has been an absolutely brilliant way of people starting to get experience and beginning their career journey. In fact, we had a Kickstart person who came and joined us in the recruitment team, and she's now stayed on with us and is continuing to develop her learning and skills, and she's come on in leaps and bounds. So there's loads and loads of different roles available, and healthcare support workers is one of those routes in. And what's nice about the Kickstart scheme is it's an opportunity for you to kind of try something out and see what it's like. You only have to work for 25 hours a week, and the placement's for 6 months. And the idea is that it gives you some really fantastic experience. It gives the trust and other employers some resources that they wouldn't otherwise have had. And in exchange for that experience and development, and you can help out by working as part of the organisation that you join and testing out the job role. And I think that a number of those roles have led on to longer term job opportunities. So we know that the pandemic's been a crazy time. Some people have lost their jobs or haven't been sure of what direction they want to take, but particularly for this group of 16 to 24-year-olds, the world's turned upside down, and this is a great scheme that the government have put in place to help people to build their confidence on a part-time basis towards their longer term career objectives. So another really fantastic opportunity. So in terms of next steps and how to apply, if the easiest and best way for you to find the job roles that are available at Royal Cornwall is to go onto NHS Jobs, and then you can just pop in, you'll come up, there's a box that appears that looks like this one with the maroon search bars, and if you put in Cornwall and click search and then healthcare support worker, you should then find the different roles that come up. When you see them appear, you'll notice that some of them have got a little red spot next to them, and those are there in particular because they are COVID related. So what that means is they're there specifically as job roles to help support the COVID crisis, and so it's just something that you may spot when you're looking at different opportunities. But if you do that search for Cornwall and then healthcare support workers, you should find that there are different options and routes in. So what we are looking at doing at the moment and have been doing for a while is anybody who doesn't have any previous experience, so maybe you're brand new to healthcare, or you may be interested in apprentice route because it's also a new route, then those are different routes in, one for the apprenticeship, one for learning the job from scratch. And all of our new staff will go through the Wheelvor training area before they go onto their wards. Okay, so you'll get all of that learning there and then get sent out to where you're going to be working in the longer term. And then the other part around that is we also have, from time to time, we have people who are applying to us who've got experience of working in care already. And when we talk about experience, we're looking at people who've worked either in a hospital, it may be within a care home or another care setting. And those individuals who've got that experience and that potentially that care certificate in place already can go straight into wards. But hopefully our Wheelville area will give people a nice landing ground where they can learn the job and really develop their skills before they go out into the ward areas. So that's how to find the roles that are available. And then some people, we do use a system to help us with our recruitment onboarding. The system's called TRAC, T-R-A-C, and you can also find jobs on the TRAC system by looking at this URL, healthjobsuk.com, and then you look at nursing and midwifery, which is where the healthcare assistant vacancies will sit. And then if you put into the search bar healthcare support worker, then Cornwall and Royal Cornwall Hospital, you should then be able to see all of the roles that you can choose to apply for there as well. So that's the other way in. So either of those two will work. So some hints and tips on your applications, because this is where it's really important that you fill the application form in as fully and completely as possible. So the first one is make sure you fill in the application form. When we are doing our shortlisting, so when we're choosing who we would like to interview, we are we cannot work off CVs or other documents. It's got to be that application form that we use, because it all gets put into the system and we look at the application form online and can't see other documents at that point. So if you haven't put everything into the application form, then we can't assume that you've got that experience or skill. So the first and most important thing is make sure you're thorough and detailed and you fill it all in. The next thing is to write down all of your responsibilities and experiences that you've had before, and particularly those that relate to a care or support type job that you may have had in the past. So even though it might seem silly, just write down all your daily duties and everything that you may and may have done in the past. Include, things like it's caring for family members and demonstrating that you have care and compassion and that you've worked in an environment or you understand what it takes to care for somebody is really important. So feel free to include experiences like that, because that's all helpful. You remember I showed you the 5 different values, or the sets of values that we had at the beginning: care and compassion, trust and respect. Those values that we have as an organisation are important to us, and they're important in terms of how we select people to come and work for us. So for that reason, make sure that you're considering those values and you're demonstrating that you're caring and compassionate and that you can work with a team and that you have trust and respect for others. So think about trying to maximise demonstrating that at all stages. Now, the onboarding process is quite complicated, because once we know that you want to join us and you're happy to accept an offer from us, we have to get references for you. We'll have to do what's called a disclosure and barring service check, or a DBS check. We also need to do an occupational health check, and we'll need various documents from you as well. So where it says here, make sure your referees are ready. We are looking for references for the last 3 years of your employment history, and if your referees are forewarned that you're about to get this offer and that they can help you, that's always helpful for us, because one of the things that takes ages is getting references back for individuals, and obviously the longer that takes, the longer it takes for you to be able to start with us. And also completing any requests that you get through quickly and promptly is important. So you should hear from us fairly soon after an offer about what to do next, in terms of making sure that your DBS form is filled in, you're producing your ID, that you've started gathering up, that we'll be taking your references and so on. So it's really important to make sure you're checking your emails regularly and completing requests promptly. And that also includes checking in your junk mail as well, because quite a lot of our email messages do happen to go to junk mail for some reason. So there's just some hints and tips there on getting through the process as quickly as possible. So we've got some time now for any questions that any of you might have. I know, so please feel free to, if you want to, oh, I fell off my chair. If you have any questions, please put your hand up or pop something in the chat. And don't worry if you don't, because Shimon, have you got a question? You need to come off mute. Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to come off mute? So if you look at the top bar, you'll see the leave button and then a cross. And then if you click the microphone next to the cross, you should be able to unmute your microphone. Or you can put your question in the chat if you like. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. What's your question?
No, actually, I was thinking the apprenticeship. So that I tried to so many times, but then I decided actually I have the care worker experience, very good experience. So I think this.
I think Shimon's frozen, so he has actually properly frozen, hasn't he? Okay, Donna, I know you've got your hand up. What would you like to say? Oh,
hi. That's all right. Carry on.
So actually, the healthcare support.
Shimon, I'm really sorry, but we're struggling to hear you. It keeps breaking up. So do you want to put your question in the chat?
Okay, it's actually not question. Actually, my view. That's it is.
Okay, Shimon, put your question in the chat so we can hear you. Donna, do you want to go ahead and ask? I think you've got a better signal.
Yeah, sorry, it's a personal question from my point of view. So I do have quite a lot of experience in care as head of care in a care home, and I kind of looking to go into the NHS because I feel like I work for the PCN on a Wednesday as well for Falmouth and Penryn, and I've seen how difficult times are at the hospital. Yeah. Do the HCAs, do they include kind of flexi working as well, and kind of working opportunities to maybe work in different areas within your job, so that I could look at, you know, maybe doing 2 or 3 different wards, or, you know, kind of dropping in where was needed with the type of things that I have my education and background in?
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple of things. Our standard shift pattern is 7:30. It's a 12-hour shift pattern essentially, but we have lots of staff that work part-time and that don't necessarily do that specific shift pattern, but can work with others. And really it's about what the wards need. And we also have, one of the things we haven't mentioned is we also take on staff to work on our bank area, which is Kernoflex. And Kernoflex are currently recruiting staff to work not just at RCHT, but across the whole sector area. And that work is really about literally what you've just described. It's about lifting someone and then dropping them in where they're most needed on a particular day. So every morning and every evening we hold what's called a safe care meeting, and in that safe care meeting they identify where we need to put more staff in order to ensure that our patients are safely going to be looked after in the trust. And at that point, that's where our Kernoflex team are then identifying who can go and help bolster those shifts, where they're going to open up those opportunities. So planning ahead is really important. I mean, particularly at the moment, you know, we've got you know, like everybody, we've got staff who have off with COVID, for example, is just one thing why they can't be in work. So obviously we can't plan for that. It's a very responsive and reactive area. So I think, Donna, that's probably going to be your best bet, is to go through the Kearneyflex route, because we really are looking for people who've got 6 months experience already. It sounds like you've got tons of that.
Tons of. And that's where I want to go. I really want to feel like I can support those areas that are really struggling. And I think after hearing Neil talk as well, you know, that was really honest, and that is definitely kind of an area that I think that I'd be able to use my knowledge to. So thank you.
Good. And then the other advantage for you, of course, is that you're getting to, you get to pick and choose what shifts you do and that you sign up to, and B, you get to see different areas of the hospital, and it might be that you fall in love with one of those and that's where you want to stay. So that and then you can wait till a substantive opportunity comes up. So that's the nice part about Kearneyflex. And whilst we're on the topic of Kearneyflex, that's also, once you've got a bit of experience under your belt, if you do want to go and do some additional work on top of your shifts or do some overtime, you might want to go and try out what goes on in a different ward, or maybe get an experience across different areas of the trust. It's a fantastic way of you know, earning a bit of extra cash for yourself, but also exploring the hospital a bit more and understanding more about what's out there. So it's a really great opportunity for people. So that's what we call our bank, and Kearneyflex is what we call it, essentially, is our bank staff. So you'd need a bit of experience before you would be accepted into there, but once you are accepted in, then you know, it's, like I said, it's a great place to be. Shimon, I didn't hear your question because your signal went funny. So do you want to type it into the chat bar and I can help you answer it?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So actually, because just we are not submit anything else. So how can we apply? We need to be apply on the website again?
That's right. Yeah. So we'll share the slides after the event, so you can refer back to them. And on that link that we showed you earlier, this one in particular, if you put in Cornwall and then healthcare support worker, you should find the different vacancies there to apply to. And we'll share these slides after the event with everybody, and also the video, so you can refer back to anything that we had before. Okay.
Okay.
So the other thing is, now one of our things that we did before. Sorry.
We did apply in the website.
Say that again.
I applied before in this website. Is jobs, health, you know.
On NHS jobs.
We need to apply to NSS and also is a health jobs, or just one is applied. Website is okay.
So every time, so if what you'll see here is that every different trust across the country, every different hospital and every different NHS healthcare provider are all advertising their jobs separately. So you probably have seen this system before, unless you're applying specifically to Cornwall and also specifically to Royal Cornwall Hospitals Trust. Your application will only then come to us. So so that's what you need to do, is apply via that system and to the specific trust that you're interested in. Okay, so I think I might have lost Shimon again. Okay, you heard that. Good, I'm glad.
So nearly finished, yeah.
So you probably have seen that before, so you need to go have a go again. But we've got 20. Last time when I took this screenshot, we were on about 26,000 jobs in the NHS available across the UK.
So I understand now. Is okay.
Okay, good. Any other questions? No. Oh, I meant to say. Now one of the things that we were trying to do today was to hear from some of our healthcare support workers, and unfortunately it sounds like the 2 that we had lined up have actually been called into their wards, and that does happen from time to time, that where we have these plans, they have, you know, for safe care, they have to go off and keep doing their job. So what I would say is we record these events and we share them on our Facebook page, which is RCHT Jobs. So if you want to hear from a healthcare support worker, then go onto our Facebook page, and you will, if you scroll down, you'll see the video from the last event, and you can sort of fast forward through me waffling on and all of our videos and everything, and then you can hear from our healthcare support workers. And the last one was really good. I think we had about 4 or 5 people who shared their stories. So if you are keen to hear from them, I would recommend that you go to that video. So Gabrielle, to answer your question, will there be an opportunity to work in a chosen unit or ward once we're more experienced healthcare support workers, or are we placed where we are needed most? So that's a great question. And the answer is it's a bit of both, to be honest. So at the moment, we've got most of our vacancies are in our urgent and emergency and trauma areas. So what we try and do is look at where our need is greatest, and we try and line up our healthcare support workers to go and help in those areas of greatest need. But what that doesn't mean to say is you're stuck there forever, because there is the opportunity to move around. And one of the things that Wheel Vor is keen to do is where people are not necessarily sure about where they want to go, if there is room for you to go and work in a chosen area, or you've got a particular passion for a particular type of care, then absolutely you can make that clear at your interview stage that that's what you're looking for. And we can line you up to go and work in that specific area. And as part of your training journey, you would have some rotation into that ward, so you can go and experience it for the first time. And you know, and then once you're actually in that ward, if you're thinking actually this isn't where I want to be forever, you don't have to stay there forever, because there's still the opportunity for you to apply for different opportunities across the trust anyway. So there's a bit of both available, to be honest with you. But that, hopefully that's answered your question. So I think if you have got a particular passion, or you're keen to work in an area, just make sure that your interviewing panel know that, and then when you go into Wheel Vor, that they know it. And if you've got experience, then make sure that your interview panel know, and they should be able to funnel you off to the correct areas. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so I think what we will do, I think we can wrap up the event early, like I said. So please feel free to go and visit our Facebook page, like I said, and if hopefully your applications will come through very soon. And if you have any more questions or anything that you sort of are concerned about, then please get in touch with us. I'll put in our jobs email well, and we'll share the video with you, so you've got information about how to get in touch with us, how to apply, and you know, please feel free to get in touch with us if you have any questions. And it's been great to meet you. Thank you to all of our speakers, and if you have, yeah, we'll look forward to working with you, hopefully. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
See you later. Thanks, Donna. Bye.
Thank you, madam. See you soon.
Nice to meet you, Shimon.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Thank you. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Cassandra.